Cool. And we are all set up. Uh, Let me check. We are live on YouTube. Yeah, we are live. If anyone is joining in, hey, hello, how's it going? And yeah, it's mostly me right now. I think these initial parts sort of like feels like talking to yourself, which I think like is also the best use of internet in our times, like just using internet as a diary, just putting your thoughts out there, and hopefully expecting like people who have similar thoughts find it and then you connect with it. So but yeah, I will just get started in a minute. Until then, let's wait for some time more. I'll just quickly check if my audio is working fine, which seems to be. Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Let me move my window to the corner, and yes. So yeah, today is gonna be about building a agent that helps you qualify people who come onto your website. You can set it up in multiple ways, like people who come to your website or people who book a call with you, or people so yeah, it depends honestly on the stage where your business is at. But yeah, starting with why this matters. So I thought like why not start with sort of the reasoning why I wanted to build it out on the stream, and like if you are watching along, why you should build it for yourself, or if you want to just build it out and sell it to a client later, or probably use it within your own job in any way. So yeah, the reasoning behind it is that you can never sell stuff to the wrong guy, and definitely like there is philosophy behind it, like morally you don't want to do it, but also it does not work that way. Like even if you find out a person who is interested in your stuff, but if they're not qualified, like uh, for example, like me like we at Impulse Labs, we sell solution to businesses uh, like who are looking to automate their sales and marketing. So yes, an individual could be interested, but like they are not gonna buy from us most probably if they don't have a business. And same criteria applies to everything. Like if you run a beauty brand for women and there is a guy who is on the website, most probably the lead is not the right one, like unless they are shopping for someone. And yeah, similarly, like for softwares, like if you build softwares uh, for cyber security teams, like most probably a person who runs a company with it's just them right now, they won't buy it. So qualifying people becomes really important. And like how I personally do is like as soon as I find someone on my website like who want to book a call with me, so like this is how sort of the flow works right now. Someone comes on my website, they become interested, they just check out the site and they want to work with us. Once they do that, then they are redirected to a calendar page where they can book a call. And once they book a call, then like I get to know about it, I start researching about it. And usually the steps that I take is I go to their website, I go to their LinkedIn profile, I check their company website. So like this could be the same if they have mentioned the same thing, or like a person could also have a personal website. Then I check their employee count. uh, I look for signals specifically that show me that they have substantial revenue, like they either have a team, or there are logos on their website telling me that they have customers, or something like that, that gives me a signal that they are generating revenue and they're looking to scale it, rather than someone like who's just looking help and starting out. So that's the first part. Now the next thing is like once we have sort of figured out that why this matters and why we want to do it, the next thing is like the build, like what exactly would happen. So like We covered the journey from someone starting on the website, then booking a call. Now, once they book a call, then sort of like what I would prefer this thing that we are building out today, the agent workflow, to do is uh, some endpoint like this could be anything that gets fired so that my agent gets to know that a call is booked. So something from cal.com has to go and tell the agent that someone has booked the call, and these are all the details about them. Meanwhile, oh, hey Jitin, thanks a lot. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. And yeah, like looking more to hear from you guys, like what you are building and what got you interested. So yeah, that's the first part. So there needs to be some form of endpoint that fires from uh, cal.com in this case, and that lets the agent know that someone has booked a call. Now the next thing is the agent has to do the research. They have to evaluate if they are the right fit, and then it has to share the analysis with me. Like and over here, like there could be multiple cases. Like a case could be that the person is qualified. In that case, I would want it to give me the research that I need to prepare for the call. So wait, yeah. Give me details for preparing for the call. So that's one. Another thing could be that they are not qualified. In that case, like I would want the agent to tell me that the person is not qualified and giving me the reasoning behind it. So reasoning for why not. Honestly, it also makes sense that it gives us the reasoning why it is qualified in the first place. So apart from that, I will also add reasoning here. Reasoning for qualification. And the third thing is the agent is just confused. Like there isn't enough information. Sometimes people do not put the right link for the website. Sometimes people do not fill in all the fields, and in that case, like once the agent is uncertain, I would want it to collect more information, and for that I wanted to share a draft email with me. So draft email for collecting more info. And those are the three cases like which might come up, and that I would want this agent to handle like once, and this is the thing that I would want the agent to share with me. So now the next thing, like the qualification criteria. So once the lead is there, like once I know that it is qualified or like for the agent to define if a lead is qualified or not qualified, I would have to give it specific signals. Like one kind of lead would be qualified for a business, but it might not be for another business. And honestly, like personally, the business that I am running, things have changed so much from the start. Like initially, we used to work with anyone like who is willing to work with us, but over the period of time, the positioning gets defined, and like you are also looking to work with people who have a certain budget, and it keeps on changing with time. Like probably you would want to niche down into certain specific industries, and like your systems are getting better results for real estate agents or for SaaS companies, so you would want to focus more on those kind of leads. So yeah, about the qualification criteria, like right now I would want to start with, wait, uh, how do I move it? Yes. So for the qualification criteria, the three things that I would want to be there is, like the first one is definitely it should have a valid company website. Like it shouldn't be vibe coded website without any social proof. So with social proof, like it needs to have actual testimonials of people, actual company logos. It should have case studies. So I will just mention that real testimonials, case studies, brand logos, and all that stuff. So that is a good signal. Apart from that, they need to have a LinkedIn company profile where there needs to be more than one customers. Like sorry, there needs to be more than one employees. Right now people are building companies with single employees or a single founder and still scaling it. So this is like a soft filter. This does not have to be a hard filter. So company needs to have more than 5 employees. And yeah, I think it's still wrong, but let's move on. So the next thing, I would want the qualification criteria to be, uh, I think for our case, like it is that it like the company needs to be doing marketing in a digital way. Like they need to be running ads, or they need to be doing SEO, they need to be doing content creation, some sort of digital channel. Like, because inherently what we build are AI systems for sales and marketing companies, like AI systems for sales and marketing, and it works for companies who are doing marketing in a digital way. Like it could be any of these, even cold emails, but it shouldn't be something like PR, or it shouldn't be something like hoardings or stuff like that, because honestly it's difficult to build AI systems for that. So that's it. Like company needs to have one of the above digital channels for their marketing. So those are the qualification criteria that I would be setting right now. So that is everything on how this agent should work, what the process is. Now the next part, which is actually building this entire thing, and we'll start with that. But before getting into it, like there needs to be some research that happens. So if I define like what the system design for this agent would be, and by the way, like so that you have all of it, I will also uh, share basically, like I will keep sharing my screen, but apart from that I will also share a doc in the description of the video. So from there, like you can get all the prompts, all the planning that we are doing for building this agent. Yes. And yeah, the second part. So let me share the document, and then you can get it from the description. Yeah, so we'll keep updating it as we proceed in the video. For now, like I'm not adding the qualification criteria, because I think that would be something that would be personal to your own business or whatever you want it to do. So I will just write qualification criteria. Define yourself. By the way, I think there needs to be some way of adding the description in the video using the software, but I will just go back on YouTube and do it. Yes, it should be there. Now, starting with the next part, which is system design. So we already have some constraints in place. Like we know that the initial call would be booked on cal.com. So we know that the starting point needs to be cal.com. So let me just add this here, And from here, this would lead us to, like, then we somehow need to get all this information that that cal.com has, and then put this into our agent. So for the agent, like, I don't want to keep it high maintenance, so I would rather just use Claude here, because I know, like, I can set up like a Claude skill or a specific process within Claude, and it can just open up a session and do the entire thing. So I am thinking of using Claude routines here, which is sort of just starting a new Claude session, but it happens on a cloud server. So I don't have to keep my system on when a new lead comes in. Like, as soon as the lead comes in, it will just open up a new session, do the entire research, and then just send me the summary. So that is what I want. That's why I think the second part needs to be routine. So I would be using Claude routine here. But before putting it into routine, like, so there needs to be some kind of bridge here, because if I go within Claude routines, I see that for setting up a routine, I can use a API. So either I can I can trigger it via the API, but for cal.com, like, if we go within the cal.com documentation, I see that it provides me webhooks for doing this. Like, I can either use the MCP server, for which, like, again, it won't work because, like, I need to have an active session for using it. If I want like a booking to sort of create a session on itself, then I need a API, and this gives me a webhook. So I sort of need a connector between a webhook that I get from cal.com and, like, putting it in the relevant schema, and then just creating a API call out of it that I can send to a Claude routine. So I will just do exactly that. So let me figure this out, like, what exactly needs to go here, and this is where we might have to write some custom code. Like, definitely Claude would be writing it, but this is sort of the area where it gets on the boundary of no code and code build. So we need something that converts a webhook into a API call, and this needs to be formatted the right way. So I am thinking, like, over here, as soon as the webhook runs, like, it will format it and it will do a API call that invokes a Claude routine. And once this Claude routine runs, then it will have, like, connectors and stuffs that helps it with the entire research. And once the research is done, so, like, first it will do a research. So this research step would be parallel to this. So can we create double-headed arrows from here? I think we should be able to do that. No, we cannot, but okay. So this would be sort of like a parallel process, and so this would be some sort of scraping plus research tool. So natively, like, Claude can do a lot of this stuff on itself, but if we, like, figure out any apps, then we can also add scraping tools on top of it. So things like Firecrawl or Appify could come in handy here. And then the final step would be we receive. So I would keep it, we receive a message on Slack. So you can select this to be an email. Actually, it's better if I keep it email, because I can just copy paste the same thing and send it. So we receive an email. Yeah, so that's the entire process. That's how our entire system would look like in this case. So let's start with the first part. So initial thing is, like, so whenever, like, you are building something using AI, the first step, like, this is how the step most of the time looks like. So first you do research, Then the next thing from here is once you have done the amount of research that is required, then you extract. So you extract the pieces of research that are relevant for the thing to be built out. Then you build a plan and then you execute. So these are the four common steps. Like, I think if you have to remember it, like you can remember it like rex pay or something, like research, extract, plan, execute. But yeah, like it's pretty intuitive. So we are gonna start with the research part of it. Like we know we are gonna use cal.com. So first, I will just open up a chat GPT session. I will copy this entire link and I will drop it here. Actually, it's better if we just do it directly within Claude so that everything is together. So I will just open up a new chat session and yeah, let's start with Sonnet. I don't think so we need a lot of heavy lifting here. So let's describe what we are building. We are building a AI lead qualification agent. And for it, we want to use cal.com as the webhook generator. Then we want to process it using a script on Cloudflare workers. And finally we want to convert it into a API that can invoke a Claude routine. Yeah, that's our initial prompt. Now apart from that, in this step I want you to research the cal.com documentation for finding how their webhook works. Extract all relevant info and save it in a .md file. So, and we will like keep using this .md file for getting all the relevant context. I will select a new folder so that all the files are together in one place. So I will call this folder lead qualification. And yeah, I will just open this, and within this it will start saving all the files. And I will just drop the link of the documentation. So I will just drop the link of where the webhook documentation on the cal.com website is. So that's the first one. Now the next thing is like we would also want to research the next piece, which is like creating a webhook. So actually there won't be much research needed about it because like the agent can create it any way that it wants to. And finally, we would have to do some research on how a Claude routine expects an API to be. So API input for Claude routine. Let's see what needs to be our format and everything around it. So there would be enough documentation around it on Claude's own website. So let's check how the API routes work. You can configure routine to be triggered by API call. Every routine gets its own endpoint and auth token. Post a message, get back a session URL while Claude code into your alerting, your deploy hooks, your internal tools, everywhere you can make an HTTPS request. So either like also like it can be started out when a new GitHub repository event is triggered, but in our case like we don't want to get that additional hassle of like also maintaining a GitHub repo. But like if you would want to make this much more organized, if you would want the responses to be saved every time, like I would recommend that you also attach like a GitHub repo to it. It would sort of like become your central repository where all the lead data is added every time, and like your logic stays there, so you can keep revising your logic with time. So let's allow this, and it is like going through the pages. For now, like we will do this without creating a GitHub repository, but I think in the long run I would want to create one. So that's there. So yeah, so we are in the first step of researching a webhook. Like apart from that, I will also drop this document here. Use this for adding relevant research about Claude routines, and I will just schedule this message, so it will take a while for doing all of that. And wait, and yeah, I will also update the prompts on the document, so if you're following along, you can use it directly from here. So by the way, if you are interested in seeing the final output and you would want to follow this along, but like you would want like a much more compressed version where I tell you like exactly what worked and what to do, you can subscribe to the channel. I would be dropping a video, like a compressed video, where I tell you exactly how to do this entire process on the channel. It would mostly come out in the next week. Like I will try to do it within the next week, but yeah, like if you are short on time, like feel free to do that. But if you have time today, you can stick around. Then I would recommend that you build this out live right now. And honestly, like you can use it for so many different use cases. Like last week we created a workflow which basically converts your YouTube videos into LinkedIn post. So sort of the ideology remains the same everywhere. Like you first define how the entire system would work, you figure out like what pieces you would need, you ask an agent to research about it, it plans, and then you build it. So if so sort of the core reasoning behind all of these builds remain the same. So if you follow along for one of these, you would technically understand like how you can do it for any use case that you want to. I will just copy the first prompt and I will drop it here. And it has fetched all the relevant information on how to use the cal.com webhooks, and like here's the research. So how the webhook work, how we can create a webhook. So using their API, we won't be doing that. Like we'll just create one webhook and keep using it. But all of this is helpful research. Then how to use the webhook, how do we use the signature verification and all those stuff there. And it also mentioned like implications of our architecture. So like the cal.com booking is created webhook. That webhook would go to a Cloudflare worker. So it will first verify the signature, then extract the lead info, then it will transform it into a clean JSON shape for the qualification routine, and then it will call Claude with the lead data and the qualification prompt, so that the entire Claude routine research can start from there. So we have actually built out the both the research documents. We also have the Claude routines Claude routines research document. Now the next step for us is to combine both of these and sort of create the script that would be required for connecting the cal.com endpoint with uh, Claude routine. So basically this middle part, this is what we would want it to build next. So we get there. So for that I will simply, this time I will just use whisper flow for writing the prompt. So we want to connect the webhooks that we got from cal.com along with our Claude routine. So for doing that, we need a script in between. That script we would be deploying on Cloudflare workers, and it would be connected with both cal.com, and it would be also connected with Claude routines. So make sure that you give a specific understanding on how this entire process would work, and basis that make a plan on how do we create that script. Along with that, also go through like both the research documents, and also give us the steps that needs to be done for creating the right webhook on cal.com, and for creating the entire API setup on Claude routine. So that's entire prompt. Sometimes it make mistakes in terms of spellings, and so I will just quickly go through the entire prompt again. We want to connect the webhooks that we got from cal.com along with Claude routine. For doing that, we need a script in between that we'll be deploying on Cloudflare workers. It would be connected with both cal.com and also Claude routines. Make sure that you give a specific understanding of this. Make sure that you have understanding of this, how this entire process would work. On the basis of that, make a plan on how we create the script. Also go through both the research documents. So I will just link both the research documents here, and give the steps that needs to be done for creating the right webhook setup on cal.com and creating the entire API setup on Claude routines. This sounds good. I will also drop it in this document so you can get it from here. And then for this one, I will just select Opus 4.8 because why not? This is sort of the most important part of the entire build process. Like if we figure out how we have to do it, then doing it is the simpler part. So it will just go through both the documents and create the right plan for us. So let's wait while it works on that. But and then we would be finally working on the setup that we have within Claude routine, and that is where all the things that we mentioned here, the qualification criteria, the outputs that it want us like that we want it to give us, and like all the signals that we mentioned, like all of this will come together in that step. So technically, like we are done with the 50% of the process. Next 50% is just having the right plumbing in place, like the right system, and then after that just customizing it for our own use case. So here are a bunch of questions. Routines fire async. The worker gets a session URL back, not a qualification result, and are capped at 5 per day or 15 per day, given that how should worker call Claude? Routine only as planned, worker fire, okay, messages API. So we would want it to fire a routine because like for messages API, it does not have connection to other connectors. So, but the cap over here is that right now I have a pro plan, so I can only run this 5 times a day, which is actually fine for my business. But if you want to do it for multiple leads a day, like more than 5, then you might need a max plan, or it would be better for you to like build out a custom solution for it. But in my case, like 5 is more than enough. Since our routines result come back via connectors, not the HTTP response, where should the qualified lead output land? So I would want it to land on my email Gmail. So for this, like qualification summary would be sent through the Gmail connector. How do you want to create the cal.com webhook that points at the worker? So I would want to create it manually on the dashboard. Like using the API for this would be overkill, because anyways then I would have to do the API setup. So I will just keep it manual, and then it will start creating the entire plan. But honestly, like to a lot of people who are watching this, like I think doing this entire process might seem an overkill, but over and over, like again, like I've seen that it's always better to have systems rather than just doing the thing every time, thinking like it would take 5 or 15 minutes. And beyond that systems, like I think it's always best to have things automated. Like for a person to do it, like I would have to follow up with them, I would have to constantly monitor if they're doing it the right way. But like there is a benefit over there that they might also make the process better, which AI is not good at doing right now. But with AI, like that this will always work the way that you have set it up. You don't have to, like the only thing you would have to worry about is when you have not like paid your Claude bill and then it does not work. Apart from that, it would work all the time. So we have the plan here. Plan cal.com Cloudflare worker Claude routine. We are building a lead qualification agent. When a lead books a call on cal.com, we want to automatically run all that information. So end-to-end flow would be the lead books a call on cal.com. The Cloudflare worker, it verifies the signature, it passes the booking, and it runs it runs a API key that would run the Claude routine. Then the Claude routine session would run. It would get all the information about the lead. It will qualify the lead and then email the qualification summary to me on Gmail. So that's the entire process, the agent process that we are running. So the part A is creating the Cloudflare worker script. So like it would be creating a script and all of that, and within the script, like there would be like a env file where you would be putting a webhook secret, a routine token, a routine file URL, and all that stuff. Then there would be another file and all these things. So that just means like our first step is done. Now I will accept and auto mode, so it will start creating all these files that it just proposed. It got the initial idea right, so I'm trusting it on the rest of the stuff. But overall, I think the workflow seems fine. I did not dive into how the actual documentation works. So that's actually the sort of piece where you save time now, because you just have to pay attention on how everything works, and the research part, like writing the actual code, all are those things that AI can do the right way as long as you give it the right prompt and you are using the right models. So let it work on this. Meanwhile, let's work on creating the right qualification criteria that we want. So meanwhile I will open another chat and I will keep it in the same repository. So I will use the same folder here, and let's working on creating a prompt that we can use for defining how the agent should work. So I will quickly copy the system design. I will paste this image here, and along with that I will also paste some of the other images, basically like all the research that we have done about it. So I will paste this, and along with this I will also share the qualification criteria. Wait, and now we have all the context. So let me use Whisper Flow again. We are creating a workflow which is shown in the image above. Now everything else is on the way. The thing I want your help with is writing the prompt within the Claude routine that we are gonna use. Now, within this prompt, we should specify on what all things the agent should research on, uh, what specific output it should provide us, and how it should share this with us. All that information is in the attached screens, and apart from that, feel free to ask me questions wherever you feel there is a information missing. I don't want you to set up anything right now. I just want you to provide me the final prompt that we use in a Claude routine. And that becomes our third major prompt that we just use in this entire process. So I will just add this here. And yeah, this process will start running. Meanwhile, I see that it is done with some steps already. Everything works end to end. Let me do the background processes and cleanup. Okay, so it has all the files. So now the next step is we have to deploy the worker. So let's deploy the worker natively from our terminal. So can you run the worker from terminal? So that way, like, we don't have to leave Claude code. It will do everything from the terminal, and it will first ask us to log in onto our Cloudflare profile, and everything would work from there. Wait, I don't think so. This is what we wanted. Let's go back here. Can you tell me that how do we deploy this on Cloudflare? So it has created a readme.md file for us as well, where it mentions all the steps on what needs to be done. So it has mentioned steps on the local development and all that stuff. So yes, so now we ran the first command. Now I would have to log into my Cloudflare account. So I will just select my account. If you have not created this, then you can just create it easily, and like as Claude also mentioned here, this has a generous free tier. So this is free up to 100k requests a day, which is way more than enough. uh, I think at this point I'm genuinely curious, like how do these guys make money. uh, but so that's done, that's our first step. Now the next thing is we have to set the 3 secrets, but right now we don't have these secrets. So we don't have the secrets right now. They would need a, like for that we would have to first create the webhook and the Claude routine. For that we have to complete part B and part C. Give me the steps to do all of them. So meanwhile, like, since until the point we create like for creating all of these different secrets, like first we would require to have this URL, which would be our API URL. So that's why we first need to deploy this. So I will just run this command and it should deploy the entire script, and after that we will get a URL. So let's check our Cloudflare account. We should have a new script deployed over here. Yes, so we have this lead qualification script deployed. Let's check this. And this is the URL that we wanted. So we have this URL that we would need for the later steps. So now that we have it, now the next step for us is to create a Claude routine. So we will just quickly create a routine. It would be remote, and I will call it lead qualification. I will select API here, and meanwhile I will also paste the entire prompt that we created for this. So we have name, email, and company website URL. So I will just mention all of this. Like, first we would have to answer these questions to get that prompt. What does give me details for preparing for the call mean for qualified lead? What should the section contain? So I would want the company overview. I would want the key people, decision makers. So I think I would want all of them. So I will just mention this. The next step, for the uncertain outcome, who is the drafted email addressed to? Draft for me to send to the lead, yes. What tools access does the agent actually have for research? So right now it has general web search, but like we can enhance this later. So let's copy this URL and let's put all these things in a single single place, so that we can paste it from there. So we have this link, and along with this we have this entire prompt. Yeah. So I will copy this entire thing and I will create a new session. We will run this on remote and I will call it lead qualification agent. So I'm hoping that you are able to follow along until this point. This is actually the most technical part of this entire process. Everything from here should be simple, and it seems that it basically has a limit on the length of the instruction. So I will just ask the agent to first make the entire instruction a bit smaller. So let's do this. Can you make the instruction a bit smaller, we are reaching the text limit. So I think the limit, so let's check that what is the limit for Claude Code routines instructions, so that we can keep our prompt within that. So they haven't mentioned it anywhere on the documentation, but yeah, apparently there seems to be one. So this is smaller than that. So let's go back and let's create another routine. Let's call it the same thing, lead qualification agent. And yeah, this fits this time. Now the next thing is selecting API here, and apart from that I will remove rest of the connectors. Like these are all the connectors that are connected with my Claude. You can connect any connector that you want to. Like I would recommend to keep only Gmail for this use case. Anyways, we are not gonna use the rest of the stuff that is here, but these connectors just give ability for Claude to use these tools natively. Claude can use all these connectors including writes, so that is fine. And then I will click on create. So now we have the API token for using this. So I will copy this API and then I will just click on done, and then let's go back to our chat. So here is the API endpoint for running a Claude code routine. So once I share it, then it will save it, and like ideally, like you should not share all these things, but in this case, like it is already capped at 5 requests a day. So like if it does get leaked, even then it won't be a big hassle for me. So that's fine for now. Now the next thing is I would have to create a cal.com webhook. So for this I first have to go to cal.com. So I will just open up this link and I will create a new webhook. I will create new, and the subscriber URL is basically the URL that we got from Cloudflare. So I will add this here. Wait, actually I would have to edit this. Yeah. So first I've added the subscriber URL, and then like there are all these triggers that it can be triggered for. In our case, we want to keep the trigger to be booking created. For our case, we want to keep it booking created. For the rest of the stuff, it's not required. 1 second. Yeah. So I will remove all the stuff from here. I will only keep booking created. And then we would have to paste a secret here. So like this would be same that we used in the step before. So I can set it to anything. So I will just keep it test secret for now, and I will save this. Actually, we can keep it blank for now. That would also make the setup easier. So I will just click on blank and I will save this. So they have created, it has created a random string for webhook signing secret. Let's keep the signing secret blank for now. And with that, we have everything for us to run this routine. So the thing is, can you do it using the terminal? So it will deploy all these secrets on our Cloudflare, and then we should be able to test out the entire setup. So if we go back to the initial place where we started with, so we are done with the cal.com setup. We are done with creating the web. We are done with creating that script that basically connects our cal.com to our Claude routine. And now the next step for us would be to run this entire thing. So there is no terminal key way of generated. It has to come from API trigger. Open your lead qualification. Okay, so it first needs also the URL on which our Claude routine works. So for that, I would have to go to Claude code and the routines. I will go to lead qualification agent and I will copy this URL. Here's the URL. And now it will set this up and it will test this out. So it is recommending us that we use a cal webhook secret, which is actually also a better way of using it. So I will just edit this and I will also add the secret here. The secret is added now. Added now on our webhook. And after this, hopefully, I think the setup should be complete. Let's go on our Cloudflare and check if it has deployed this. Yes, I see a new deployment 15 seconds ago. So this is deployed. So this is working. I see like one domain, 0 workers, 0 queues. And with that, the entire process should be complete, and the routine should be able to figure out this last part of scraping and sending us an email. Quick check, can you confirm, did you set this exact, if yes, that is done. I will quickly check this as well, if this is set up to, if we have used this right URL for our webhook setup, and yes, so this is done. Now open next steps, open that session to watch the routine. So it actually ran the entire pipeline and it seems to be working end to end. So it basically gave it a demo basically lead, and it did all the research on top of it. So let's do a final setup. Let's do a final test. So what I will do is I will just go back on the website and wait, like before doing that, I will also quickly check if in the last like the last webhook call that ran, like did I receive an email regarding that. So I will just check my drafts. Like I think there needs to be a draft with that specific information. I don't see it here. So let's go back. Okay, so it did it with Jane Doe Big Co. So let's check it if I have a draft for that. I don't. So I will check. I haven't received an email for it. So it is actually doing the research, and it will come back to us once the research is done. So done. It has created a draft, and it is uncertain janedobiggo.com. So let's check our drafts once again. Yeah, and I see the new draft here. So this new draft basically, so hi Nimish, I researched this lead. What's confirmed? It has confirmed the name of the company, the team size, and yeah, like it also mentioned the note that it has. Then it mentioned all the red flags in the entire research that it mentioned, like what needs to be the questions that I ask with this prospect before booking a call. So this test is done. Now I will also run this test on my end using my own website to see if this is working. So I will just click on book a call. I will select one of these slots. I will probably select a slot that is usually not that crowded. I will select a 9 a.m. slot, and like I will use some email here, Sam Altman, sam@openai.com, and I will add some routines. We want, and I will add some notes here. We want help with automations for our SEO and GEO efforts. And along with this, like I will also mention their company website, which is openai.com. Let me add this, and I'll just click on confirm. Once I do this, then the entire process should start. Like a webhook should fire, and I should receive an email in some time talking about like what is something else that I need to check with this person. So I will also refresh this to see like how many times this worker ran. That will tell me like if the request is hitting here perfectly. So let's check this. Let's go to observability to check like if the event is running. Okay, we did not enable it earlier, so we don't have this right now, but the process should run in some time, and we should see the response. So it says that we have ran the 2 of the daily runs. So let's check. Okay, so it's running the new request right now. I see all the runs, and within this it has received the information. So it did receive all the information about Sam Altman. It initialized a session, but that session is now stuck. Once I have those, I will research. Okay, so let me grab a quick screenshot from here. So I think our entire pipeline until this step is working fine, but okay, so it used the 2 tools and it was able to get all that information. So this is actually working fine. It got the payload and it got all the information from there. So now it is using a couple of tools here, like the search tool. We can provide it even more tools. Like I think ideally we should provide it with something like a scraping tool from Bright Data or some other provider, so that it can go through LinkedIn pages, so that it can go through the website, it can go through all the active job profiles that company is hiring for, so that it gives us accurate information on what this lead is actually looking for. But yes, like it is going through all the case studies and it is looking for all the data. Like for OpenAI, I think honestly like it will find a bunch of information, but this is really helpful when you are looking to search for a niche company that you have booked a call with you. So it is browsing the web, it is finding all the relevant information, and it should draft an email to us. But this is all of this will create a draft and save within my Gmail. So I will just go back on my Gmail and I will check the drafts, and I see a new draft here. So wait, I'll just go on my drafts and I see this new draft, which is for this new lead. So qualified Sam Altman, flag before reading further. This booking claims to be requesting help with SEO by the letter of our criteria. OpenAI passes overwhelmingly, but the premise is extremely implausible. Uh, so yeah, like it is talking about that it won't be possible for Sam Altman to book a call himself, like because he runs a $1 billion company, and it has to be someone from his team booking a call rather than himself. So which is a fair concern, and it provided me rest of the stuff. It also provided me notes on how do I prepare for this call, and it has done the entire qualification. So that's what the entire workflow was about. Like we started with the step on we wanted to build out something, then we documented our qualification criteria, we built out the entire system design, and we finally went ahead and built out this entire system. So hopefully I think this would be helpful for a lot of people who is doing it for their own businesses. And if you are like trying to build something like this or sell to a business, this is actually a very good sell, because most businesses lose time on things that they shouldn't be doing. Like either they would have hired someone, some sort of personal assistant for doing this, or they would be doing it themselves. And this is where mostly time of someone who is like head of a department or the founder of the company goes in, and their time is valuable. So this is probably something that you don't even have to sell. Like if you just show them that you can build this for them, and they would be interested instantly. Like I wanted to build something like this for myself from a long time, and like I would have paid someone for building this for me. Now like I have it, so not so much, but this is a great offer to sell to anyone. This is also a very cool thing to build out for yourself. Like I built out for calls that I'm booking right now, but also a very useful workflow would be that I create this entire thing for every person who joins my emailing list, because I still have time for researching like who books a call with me, because it's not that frequent, but people signing up on my emailing list, like it's a huge number, and I cannot research everyone who joins that list. So basically researching that person and like creating the right email for them, uh, deciding that how do I communicate with that person going ahead, that becomes an important thing. And yeah, like honestly that's the reason why I built this out. Hopefully you learned something new out of it. If you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the comments. Later this week, like you will also find a much more customized video, like a smaller point to point video talking about this entire build and how you can create it. So do subscribe to the channel if you would want to get that, and I will see you next